So one more strategy we're going to be going over is something called shout for shout. Now this stands for shout out if you didn't already work that one out. But what you would do is pretty self-explanatory as well. The platforms that you do on, you can do this on FanView, you can do this on Instagram, and in fact pretty much any other platform there is where you can share a fan base. A lot of the time it will be done on platforms such as Instagram stories or on Twitter retweets. You can do retweet for retweet or shout for shout on that kind of perspective as well. But most of the time, it's just to collaborate audiences. Now, ways you can do it, best ways to do it, etc. So, doing it on FanView can work, but a lot of the time, doing a shout for shout where you're posting each other's images on each other's feeds can be a little bit weird and confusing to the customers. Why is this model promoting another model on their page? And then they kind of see it as more of an agency kind of perspective. So instead of doing that, what you could do is obviously send a mass DM out where it only goes to a specific amount of customers. Then you can obviously do the exchange a lot more accurately because you know how many customers you're sending it to and you know how many customers they're sending it to. So you can kind of see who profits the most out of this, which is obviously a good way of doing so. But shout for shout wouldn't really normally be done on FanView. Can be, but not normally the favorable platform. Instagram, however, is normally where it would go down. Shout for shout on other Instagram pages on your story is a very, very popular thing that would occur. You have a provocative image or maybe a post on another model's story, and then you would do the same to one of their posts or a picture of them and tag them in this. This can be done by simply just messaging them shout for shout, question mark, and they normally just get back to you saying like yes, no, maybe tomorrow, whatever. With this, what you don't want to do is too many shout for shouts. This will kind of dilute your audience, and anyone that comes to your page isn't really going to be too happy with you posting a shitload of other models and promoting a lot of other people. It's like downloading a game and having lots of adverts. People don't really like it. They're there to see your model and they want to see your model, not others. Also, if you're putting other models, then people may convert across to them models rather than your FanView page. So it will decrease conversions on your main Instagram. So if you are going to do shout for shout, then maybe it's best to do this on the slave accounts because you're not going to be losing an audience, you're only going to be gaining. A lot of the time, your slave accounts aren't really going to be big enough to do so. So the method isn't that effective. What is a good alternative? A good alternative is collabs. This is a version of shout for shout where it's a lot more discreet. You're going to be making a piece of content where your model is next to another model. Pretty simple. Then you're going to be posting it and collabing it. This means the interactions and the comments, etc., will be shared between your model and their model, and it's not going to be used as advertisement or look like advertisement. It's going to look like a collaboration instead. So that is a version of shout for shout that you can do. Normally people would call it a collaboration rather than a shout for shout, but if you think about it, it's basically the exact same concept as a shout for shout. So that is one way you can do that. Similar on Twitter. If you wanted to do a Twitter shout for shout, you don't exactly need to have a piece of content that you post on each other's feeds with links. What you could do is simply repost something that they have already posted. In return, they repost something that you have already posted. Pretty simple concept. I don't think I need to go into too much explanation on this because it's literally they post something, you post something, even exchange. What you wouldn't do is go to a model with 10,000 followers if you've only got like 50 followers and ask them to do a shout for shout because they're not going to do it. And if they do it, then fair play, but they're not really going to do it. Same with the alternative. If you've got 10,000 followers, don't go to someone with 1,000 followers or below and start asking them if they want to do shout for shout. You're not really going to gain anything, and there's slightly more to lose when it comes to over advertising on your account. However, one effective strat which people have done in the past is create slave accounts and then bot the shit out of them. Botting these accounts so they have 10 to 20k plus on followers and then botting their views and likes makes other models believe that they have a desirable account. This means if you do a shout for shout, then you're actually going to get a higher return than what you're giving. Because your model has got botted accounts, it may look good, but there's no real conversions that are going to be occurring. However, if you do the shout for shout with someone else, they're going to be posting on their organic fan base, and that's going to push people across to your botted account. Yes, this botted account isn't going to be ideal to host customers, but you may be able to convert them over to FanView or your main model's Instagram account. One of the two is good enough. But overall, that is the shout for shout method. The most effective one is the last one I stated, where you have the botted account and go find some people with decent following to then do shout for shout with. Yes, it is a little bit snaky, not really that ethical, but it is done quite regularly in this industry. So it is an option that you can go down.